Why do Christians fight with each other? Well, I'm going to posit two answers. One that demonstrates that the propensity we Christians have for fighting is something we have in common with our unbelieving friends, but also another reason that is distinct from our unbelieving friends, and we'll start there. One of the reasons that Christians argue and fight with each other is that Christians actually believe that there is a true and a false, a right and a wrong. Once you embrace either epistemological relativism, the idea that there is no true and no false, only an individual's perception of it, or ethical relativism, the idea that there's no good or bad, only different people's opinions of it, once you've embraced that, there is no reason to fight anymore. That doesn't keep people from doing so, as we'll see in a moment, but there's no reason to fight. But if you don't embrace that idea, if you think there really is a truth and there really is a right, then yeah, we're going to fight. Hopefully we're going to fight on behalf of truth, and hopefully we're going to fight in a way that is honorable and decent. But that brings us to our second reason. The other reason that Christians fight, which they have in common with unbelievers, is because Christians are sinners. We are zealous to get our own way. We are given to pride. We are power hungry. We look at our disagreements as battles between competing people and their worth and their value, just like unbelievers do. Now, the question is, are either of these consistent with the underlying worldview? And I'm going to suggest that the behavior of the Christian, the sinful things that promote arguments or encourage arguments, is not consistent with the Christian faith in terms of our calling. But it is consistent with the Christian faith in terms of what we know about ourselves. Here's what I mean. Christians are not supposed to be fighting and ugly with each other. But one thing the Christian faith affirms is that Christians continue to struggle with sin, including the sin of being pugnacious or lacking in grace and kindness and compassion with others. So there's an explanation for our propensity to argue with one another inside the Christian faith. It's not a justification. It's still wrong, but at least it's understandable. It's not a surprise. What baffles me is the swiftness with which those outside the kingdom of God, who say there is no truth and there is no right and wrong, how swiftly they will turn to bickering and fighting. In fact, taking to the streets, looting and pillaging and plundering. Why? Well, because somehow they think it's objectively wrong for people to be shot in the streets or to be choked like George Floyd. Now, the Christian faith has room to say, yeah, that's wicked. But if we toss away an objective, transcendent standard of right and wrong, then you have no room to say that's wrong. It's just your preferences. And you've got George Floyd's preferences, and you've got the police officer's preferences, and there's no way to judge. In fact, not only is there no way to judge which one's better, but you deny that either one could be better. So Christians fight because we're not what we should be, but we're fighting over what matters. Unbelievers fight because they are what they are, even though nothing to them matters. It's been my hope and my desire through these Ask RCs to communicate in a gracious and kind way to people on both sides of this divide. If you catch me getting ugly, please feel free to let me know, because I know that's wrong.